This is my 14.4 review of my performance. And during this presentation, I'm going to be discussing the strengths and weaknesses of my peers, like from what my peers thought of my session. And then I explain my strengths and weaknesses, my personal ones. I'll then go on to explain the changes and adaptations that I made during my session and why I did so. And I will then talk about what I would change if I had to do my session again. And then after that, I will be looking into a course I can then take part in to improve my fitness instructing and set myself 3 SMART targets to do so as well. So the first one, my strengths to my peers, were that I gave clear instructions, I managed to demonstrate a few things, and the variation of my activities. However, the weaknesses for my peers were that I need to motivate people more, to be more organised, and to be able to adapt my things more. So my personal strengths, I think that one of my personal strengths was my organisation, as I had my plan with me, so I knew what I was doing, and I also went through it beforehand. And I also made sure that all my equipment was set up before we started the session, so that after the warm-up they wouldn't be standing around whilst I was setting it up. Another thing that I think was my personal strength was my motivation. I gave them a lot of encouragement to the participants and told them how to improve what they were doing if they were doing it like slightly wrong. And also with the sit-ups, many people needed someone standing on their toes in order to keep their feet on the ground. And then I was standing there, and then they'd have to come up, high-five me, and then go back down, which I think would give people a bit more motivation than just kind of telling them to do it themselves. And my last personal strength was my ability to adapt my sessions when I needed to. And I managed to make some activities easy and harder, like the different variations of sit-ups based on people's abilities. My first personal weakness will have to be my demonstration, because although I demonstrated the harder ones, I expected others in my group to know what the simpler ones were, even though they might have not, so I need to remember to demonstrate all of them next time. My second personal weakness was that I needed to be more loud and more authoritative, due to the fact that some people couldn't hear me over the music, and because some of them weren't doing something, if they didn't want to, after I told them once and they still didn't do it, then I would just give up and they could do their own thing. My third personal weakness was that I needed to make sure that there were no distractions like phones, so they actually listened to me and concentrating on what they were meant to be doing. Changes and adaptations that I made during the session. During my session, I had to adapt my session slightly for different reasons. I found that some people found the sit-ups too easy or too hard, so if they found them too easy, I would get them to do bicycle sit-ups, which will work the abs more and are harder. However, if they found the sit-ups too hard, then I got them to do crunches, which are slightly easier versions. I also had to change the hula hooping activity for some people, as they couldn't do it, so I changed the hula hooping to tricep dips for those people. We also only had a third of the hall to conduct the lesson in, so I had to take out a couple of bigger activities like step-ups, which required a bench, and then change them to smaller ones like sit-ups, press-ups. And also some people were finding the first circuit a bit too easy, so for the second circuit I increased the time that they were working at each station and then decreased their recovery so that they had to work for longer. What would I change if I did it again? I would put a bigger variation of activities if I had more space. So we could also include hurdles and doing some more weight work, especially when doing abs, and also then to put in like the step-ups, which require benches. At the start, I would make sure that I have everyone's attention and then go through each activity one at a time, demonstrating them and then giving verbal feedback too, which would make the circuit more fluid, because they wouldn't be asking what to do all the time, but also making sure the participants are working throughout, as they don't have like an excuse of not knowing what to do. I would also make sure that at the start I would take away any mobile phones or any other distractions, so that the participants can concentrate on the station they are doing and I can get their attention easily if I need to. So this course would be suitable for me to do. So it's the Sports Leaders Level 3 course, And for a learner registration for this course, it costs £52. The minimum age on the course for to start is 15, and the minimum age of completion is 17. And so the level of supervision during the course will be direct, just because they need to then assess you to know you can do it. Apart from when you're qualified for 17-year-olds, it will be indirect supervision and an independent of supervision at 18-year-olds. So the total qualification time will be 126 hours and 60 hours of tutor time, with 30 hours of demonstration of the leadership, and this is required before the qualification is certificated. I think this course would be relevant for me, as it would give me the leadership skills needed to teach bigger groups. The training would also allow me to teach more challenging groups or those with different needs. This is also a relatively cheap course for what you get. However, it does require a bit of time to complete it. So my 3 SMART targets. My short-term target would to lead another fitness session within 2 weeks, and this would help me to get a better understanding of my strengths and weaknesses, whilst also making improvements from my last session into these to see to put them into practice. My medium-term target would be to observe 3 or 4 fitness sessions of someone else's. And for this, I would like to do this within 2 months, and this will help me to analyse and see where a more experienced instructor would deal with certain situations or people, and then would allow me to make notes and then include these skills into my own session and to hopefully improve it. And my long-term target would be to complete the Sports Leaders Level 3 course and then lead another fitness session after I've completed that course within a year. The qualification will then allow me to lead different groups of people alone or with some help from a assistant coach, but I'll be the main leader, as well as giving me the knowledge to move on and maybe do a higher qualification if I wanted to. And the final session is that I want to do will give me a chance to put into practice all the skills I've learned, and hopefully to improve from the first session I did. That's it.